And we're not alone in having identified that there is a big frustration and a big shift in the market of how people meet online. So, my name is Philip Jonzon Jarl. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the relationship company Relate. And I'm actually going to build on to Kalle's talk about how tech has ruined the process of dating. But I'm also going to talk about how it can be used to make it better than it ever has been before. About half of all young adults today have never tried a dating app yet. But out of the ones that have, there's a lot of usage. So I want to show you a few slides about how the dating behavior online looks like today. And young adults today spend an estimated amount of 10 hours per week on dating apps. And it's really difficult to find a partner, that process. And as well, a majority report that they feel bad in the process of using these apps. And if you look at why people use dating apps today, we see that the intentions are quite shattered, and a lot of people have actually no intention of meeting anyone at all. And if we're looking at millennials and Tinder as an example, an even smaller share believe that they can actually find love through that service. So it's pretty clear that there's a problem in the construct of these apps. It's not the people in them that's the problem. And we believe that there are 3 different reasons for why it's not working. And the first one is that swiping employs the same tactics as gambling. So you swipe, and then when you get a match, a kick of dopamine from your brain releases into your body, which makes you feel good. So instead of actually stepping into that match and spending time to get to know a person, you get stuck in swiping because it feels so good with that dopamine kick, which explains why we spend so much time on these apps. The second is the same that Kalle was talking about, the classic theory of paradox of choice, which they also teach in marketing, for example. And the rule is quite simple. The more choices we get, the more difficult it is to make any choice at all. And as well, the choice we make, we get less satisfied with, which explains why a lot of people never really find anything that lasts. And the third, the art of ghosting, which is sort of the phenomena of leaving in the middle of a conversation in a chat or just simply not replying at all. And we think there's 2 different reasons for this. Partly, it's a combination or a consequence of the combination of the 2 previous things, but we also believe that it's because there's not enough authentic personal information in the profiles. So you don't see other people as people. You see users as commodity that Kalle was talking about. And we're sort of judgingly window shopping commodities instead of seeing them as people. And that makes us feel okay with very quickly judging someone and also actually completely disregarding other users. So, and actually studies have also shown that these services actually make us feel lonelier, they make us feel more anxious, and in some cases it even reduces our self-worth. And looking at what people say about what they think about dating apps today, only 20% think that these apps are actually helpful. Almost a third thinks that they are shallow and dangerous. And 1 in 4, or even more than 1 in 4, say that they are completely exhausting to use. So what is the solution? We believe there are 3 cornerstones for what creates a healthy dating and building relationships. And it all starts with consciousness. It all starts with you and reflecting on what do you need in your life and what kind of life do you want to live. And based on those definitions, you meet someone based on those. And second, there needs to be a framing and a context that both enables and encourages people to be open and to be authentic, and there needs to be interaction and content that generates empathy and genuine interest for each other. So these are the three cornerstones that we believe create successful dating and relationships, and they are also the three cornerstones that we built the experience of Relate around, which we call Reflect, Relate, Connect, the three processes, the three steps of the user journey when you go through the app. So right now we have a prototype out. It's been out for about half a year in Stockholm. And in about a week from now, we're going to release a completely new version in all of Sweden. So this will be some screenshots from that, and you guys are actually the first ones to see it since we haven't released it yet. But the Reflect starts with self-reflection. So when you enter the app, you get to do an exercise where you, in 5 to 10 minutes, map your personal values in life. And then while inside the app, you can customize your own values feed, where you can change text and pictures for your values to express yourself, your beliefs, and your values more fully, and making your profile more authentic and relatable. And then instead of swiping, you click on a particular value that you're curious about, and that's how you connect. And we prompt you to actually ask a question about that value instead of just liking the profile. And the app even helps you with some suggestions on what you can write to get a conversation started around that value, instead of just writing hello or talking about small talk like where you live or what you work with. So by centering the whole experience around our personal values, we get authentic content that generates empathy, which translates to trust and connection, which helps people feel safe and intrigued enough to want to go on a date, and hopefully start a relationship on a solid foundation of beliefs and values. So while swiping is not designed for dating, our intention with Relate is designed to create authentic connections that lead to meaningful relationships. And we're not alone in having identified that there is a big frustration and the big shift in the market of how people meet online. And we have gone from the rise of the internet and the first dating services having been more like real estate agents, to now a market being dominated by apps that have democratized dating by helping people to hide behind a game. But today, we're somewhere where it's socially acceptable to look for a relationship online. And the success of apps like Hinge and Once proves that people are tired of the endless swiping, and that there's a big need to want to express yourself more fully and authentically and connect to others. So that's where the world of dating is heading, and we want to be part of creating that world. And I thought I'd finish off this talk with talking a little bit more about what values are and why they are important in a relationship. And put very simply, you could say that values are our deeper layer of motivation. They are our beliefs, preferences, needs, and ambitions that sort of make up how we view life and our role in it. And our methodology comes from our sister company called Self Leaders, and is partly based on this model, which is Barrett's 7 layers of consciousness, which basically depicts that we have 4 different groups of human needs, which translates into 7 different kinds of human motivation. And self-leaders have brilliantly simplified this into the metaphor of a tree, where the roots of the tree represent our basic needs, what we need to feel good and function well. The stem of the tree represents sort of our self-image. How do we want to be as people in this world and in our lives? And the top crown and the leaves represents what do I think is important beyond myself? What would I want to contribute with to the world around me? And put even more simply, this can also be seen as a compass, our own inner compass that sets the direction for our lives. And in order to live an authentic life that makes us happy, we need to be aware of how this compass looks like. We need to be able to read it. So what does this have to do with relationships? Why is this important in a relationship? Well, relationship is two people who have decided to walk alongside each other on the path of life, right? And so it makes sense that before you go into a relationship, you align your expectations on how that path looks like. And many couples realize at a much later stage that the path they had committed to in that relationship is not the path that they want to live, and that is one of the main reasons why couples break up. And usually that doesn't happen until much later when, in many cases, there are babies in the picture. Another reason for why it's important to talk about values and sharing values in a relationship is that it can be sort of a shortcut to empathy. If you're not brilliant at communicating in your relationship, having the same values or similar values is a shortcut. It helps us to more naturally understand each other, and it also reduces tension and conflict in your relationship. And it's also quite cool because if your partner share a lot of the same values as you do in life, your view on life is automatically affirmed. And that helps us feel more secure in ourselves and in our view on life, and also helps us live more aligned with those values. It helps us become more aware of that compass that makes our life feel more authentic. And there has, of course, been a lot of studies and research on relationship, and there's a lot of big experts out there. But many of them actually talk about the importance of values as a key success factor for relationships to last. And here's one of the most famous experts, Dr. Terry Orbuch. And she also runs a 25-year-long study on marriages in the US. And she has found that you might be physically attracted to someone who is opposite to you, but romantic partners who are similar in key life values are more likely to stay together over the long haul. And some experts even argue that sharing personal core values is the very holy grail of relationships. So our mission is to help single people to find like-minded people who share their values. But it's also to help new and existing couples to connect more deeply and to understand each other. So we're hoping that by connecting people on values, we can create a more conscious, authentic, and empathetic world for how we meet and how we build relationships. So whether you're in a relationship or not, try the app and build your own values tree today. Invite your partner or invite a friend and see how you match and start the conversation. You can help us create this world by being a part of it. Thank you for having me, and thank you for listening.